oneness. Any questions? I know it'll come as a complete surprise to everyone. We have a guest speaker today.
How does that work?
Or just put it in your pocket.
Yeah, you can hold it
Okay.
if you want.
No,
Or lay it up on the podium.
Lay it on the podium.
I'm going not to use the podium
Okay.
because the school teacher in me likes to be up close and personal. I'm Suzanne Baker. Filled with so much joy, I cannot tell you. That song was magnificent, and my dance partner, let's give it up for her. So Randi and I just came back from we went to Barcelona. We left on September the 11th and arrived on the 12th or something. And then we were there for 6 days, and then we caught a cruise ship, the Celebrity Reflection, in which Esther Hicks was on. And then we were there from the 18th through the 30th. But one of the things that I have taken away from this entire trip was the amount of joy that I'm radiating joy. I mean, my heart has expanded like to North Dakota. And everything that I'm thinking in my vortex, I'm putting it, and then I can just draw right out. And I used to think, those words are great. Everything's, we can do this, we can do that, and think that, but you have to be it. I understand it now. I am magnificent. I am joy. I am delicious. I am beautiful. I am. All those I am. And it's not outside of me anymore. It's inside of me. I'm in touch with my inner being. And my inner being always wants the best for us. Always. And sometimes we have to be kicked, dragging, and screaming to our highest good because we're in that resistance, as Abraham talks about. And like today, I got a text message from a friend of mine, and her husband's really fearful, and she used some kind of word about he's shook up or afraid, or I can't remember exactly, because and then I went, oh, he's losing his job. So I called her, and I didn't see losing his job, but I called her and I said, Kate, you're pretty open-minded, and you follow a lot of these principles. Do you mind if I provide some grains of thoughts? And she said, I'd go for it. And I said, take your husband out. Go up to Lake Tahoe. Do the things he loves. Have his mind focused on the things he loves. And just stay in that state. I said, because there's that resistance over here where you're afraid you're going to lose your job. And guess what? Which force is greater? This force over here is going to be greater because he doesn't have hardly any joy in his life. But I have noticed, like yesterday when we've been back for now about a week, and my body clock has been slightly being readjusted because Spain is actually 24 hours ahead of us, or 9 hours ahead of us, but our body has to adjust. And so I've been waking up like wide awake, 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, what can I get done? And then sometime around 9 o'clock, I'm starting to realize I'm going to take a little nap. But this morning it's gotten better. I woke up at 4:30 instead. And so, but like from 4:30 to 8:30, I have everything done that I needed to do. And so yesterday I went and actually rode my horse. I have a horse that I saved from slaughter, and he lives just around the corner from where I live, literally. And I went out, had my bag of carrots, he came right to me, along with some other horses, and I saddled him, and I, with the help of Randi, held the horse, and I have to get up on a fence to get over. And but this leg of mine, I've been having a little bit of problems with since I was in the hospital 2 years ago. And but one of the things that we do when you're over in Europe, they don't have a lot of personal cars that you can drive. I mean, there's cars everywhere, but we did a lot of walking. I mean, I did so much walking that I'd walk more than I ever had in the Europe 2019. And so I'm very, very strong now, more so than I ever thought. But when I got up on Easy, he was responding to my vibration. And I rode him for about an hour and a half. He was so smooth and so in sync with me. It was magnificent because I got to witness my vibration being experienced through my horse, because a horse, they can feel a fly on their butt. They're so sensitive. And I mean, it was fun. We had so much fun out there. So Randi and I can speak to just staying in that joy, And one of the things that Abraham says, it's not our job, which I liked, it's not our job to bring other people up. And I was like, oh, okay. We're not like missionaries, have to go out and rescue all these people that are in depression or, sickness or poverty. It's not our job. Our job is just to stay in the joy. Either they get it or they don't get it. So I got to have my opportunity tested. So Thursday we have our coffee connection in Carson City. And there's a guy that comes because he's friends with the husband and wife that run the art business. And I have everybody go around the room talking about what's up for them. And he said, depression. And the old me over here, the old me would have tried to go over there and kind of, what can I do to bring his depression up? And then the new me went over there and said, oh, if you'd like some information, how about just thinking about joy? And then I went and sat down, and then I started thinking, no, he can't get on the vibrational scale all the way up there. He can go from, what'd you say, Randi?
It's a frustration,
From
depression to frustration.
Yeah. And then just
On the emotional scale.
On the emotional scale that Abraham talks about. And it was you could have a thought on the cruise. I recommend people going on cruises. I mean, especially on an Abraham cruise. The food is superb and it's there all day long. But one of the things that Abraham spoke about was just be the joy, just be the happiness, just be that which you are seeking. And it was interesting how, I don't know, can you feel what I feel? Well, what does it feel like? Could you?
Go ahead, Bob. Just, it's a complete peace, happiness, just relaxed, it's...
Susan?
Liquid sunshine.
Wow.
good.
Wow.
Good.
Sharon?
Joy.
Joy, thank you. How about Randall, what do you feel?
Same thing, joy, I'd say. Yeah.
Wow. Steve?
Joy. Feel it.
Joanne?
High on life.
Totally. Jacqueline, what do you feel, girl?
I feel from you.
Yeah.
I feel feel you being grounded and radiating.
Thank you, thank you. That's why it's important to me. I and Randy, we made some friendships on that cruise. And two women specifically, I know they're gonna be my lifelong friendships. One lives in Chicago, Illinois, and the other one lives in Vancouver Island. And the one in Vancouver Island, there's a little app called Marco Polo. And so she's been talking back and forth with me, and she's already invited me to come up there next week. But I got so much now, since I'm in this joy and I feel like I'm radiating, it's so important for me to start working on the wild horse sanctuary, you know, because if what I'm being, not projecting, I'm trying not projecting, but I know now that you've shared with me that you can feel that, you know, I was thinking about raising maybe $4 million. Then Sandra, who invited me to Vancouver Islands, she said, oh, no, go bigger, you know, I think Abraham says if you can do a thimble, you can, what is it, Randy?
Yeah, you can manifest a castle as easily as you can a button.
Yeah, and so, in my mind, I'm already going 50 million, you know, and because there's so much abundance out there, and there's so much joy. It's like you can just reach in and grab that joy bottle and drink it. Wouldn't that be cool? So Randy and I told each other that we're going to, I may be jumping around because I got a lot of things on my mind, but I wanted to say that Randy and I are going to do a Zoom call with all the people that we've connected with, and we have like a big tribe that we've developed, this huge tribe of women from everywhere, and Randy could speak to her friends in India, and but you would have a thought, like I was wanting Myra to connect with Myra. She was from Chicago, Illinois, and so I said, okay, I want to connect with Myra, and then I just dropped it, and then I walk around the corner, and there's Myra. You know, it's like it's like instant manifestations on these things. So, you know, I called Rich Gable up this morning, and I said, Rich Gable is a man that wants to start a wild horse sanctuary, but he's not doing anything about it for the last year, I've noticed. So I called him up and I said, hey, this is Suzanne, and I'm ready to go get that sanctuary. And he said, oh, and then I realized, you know, when Randy and I were in the car, she said, is he still in the same alignment as you are? And then I was thinking, I don't think he's in the same alignment. He's kind of tried to get this money and tried to get that money, and I guess he hasn't been successful. So, but I'm like, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And I just feel that I can manifest that. And just like I put out on the Facebook that I was looking for a farrier, because my farrier that is not going to be able to come out until November to trim my horse's hoofs. And so this woman responded, and I started speaking with her, and she said that she lives right outside of Lovelock, and that she's got, she takes care of older horses and some that might be handicapped. And that I said, well, have you thought about doing a nonprofit? She goes, yes, I've tried a couple times. And I said, well, don't. I said, you know, that's that time. Now it's this time. I'm going to give you two names of two people that I know that you can be like an umbrella under their nonprofit. So you can start getting, donations in, which is exactly what she needs. And tomorrow on Monday, I'm gonna go to the Democratic luncheon, and Laurel Lee is gonna be speaking there. I don't know if you know who Laurel Lee is. She's a wild horse advocate for the wild horses, and she's been fighting against the government about the roundups for the last 25 years, has sued them and has won, and she's going to be speaking. Now, I've been giving donating to her. She lives here in Reno, but she's always out taking photographs and at the roundups, making sure the BLM is doing what they're supposed to, because she fought in court regarding the wild horses about how many feet that the people that come to observe the roundup to make sure they're not injuring the horses and doing dirty business. Well, now by law they have to have wild horse advocates come, but now they have to stay within a certain distance. But she's phenomenal. One woman did all of this in the last 25 years. I mean, she's just like me, with that joy. And whenever I think about whatever I desire, I'm not going to be pushing the ball up the hill. I'm going to be on the ball, flowing down the hill, down the river, downstream. And Randi, would you like to come and speak now about the law of attraction? And here is our famous Randi Peyser. Let's give it up for her.
I'll take off my coat and stay a while.
It's a little chilly in here.
I'm warmed up now. I learned a lot on, doesn't sound like this is on.
Yeah, you flipped it on.
She just turned it off.
Oh. Okay. On.
Yeah, now you're on.
I am?
Yep, you are now.
I learned a lot on this cruise, and not all of it came from Abraham. I met a man named Barry Bechta. He's written about 40 books, and I felt like I was in the presence of a master. There were a couple of cocktail parties they had for the Abraham group, and because there were 1,000 of us on the cruise. It was huge, so there were about 500 on each evening. And this man was dancing on the floor, and there were about 5 or 6 of us just standing, and he just danced up to us. And he said, "Where are you from?" And this woman said, "Chicago." He said, "No, where are you from?" And this person said, "New York." "No, where are you from?" "Here, now." And that was really, really powerful for me, like here's this man, and he has this phrase that he lives by, which is, "I have fun, life takes care of the details." Thought that's really interesting. Now, I went in Naples. Suzanne went on an 8-hour tour, but I decided I wasn't up for an 8-hour tour. So I wound up with this man, Barry, just touring, walking through Naples and different places. And I really felt like I'm learning. I didn't really care. Naples was great, but I was really there to just learn from this man, Barry. And so he's talking about, constantly, I have fun, life takes care of the details. And we're walking, and all of a sudden I see, a dog that's not in really good shape, and it's probably homeless, and my heart immediately just, and my vibration just goes straight down when I see that, and there's nothing I can do. I'm in Naples, all that kind of thing. But I said, Barry, how do you hold this experience? And he said that, well, it's all illusion, Randi, all of it. So everyone and everything I see, anybody, it's all a metaphor. And it's all being shown to me as part of me. I was really fascinated by that.
Randi, could you clip the mic to your clothes, please?
Yeah. Down so I'm not fuzzy speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try it this way. Okay. Does that work? Can you hear it?
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So here's this dog, and he's saying, I see all of it as illusion, so everything is a metaphor about me. And so, he owns that part of himself, and he uses from EFT, emotional freedom technique, he says, I love and accept myself, just the way I am. And then he sends love to that being as well, acknowledging that it's really part of him. So every experience he has, every circumstance that is in his life, it's like, oh, this is a reflection of what, of who. So he had like a random pairing with somebody to share his cabin with on the ship. And so he recognized that this person was a reflection of his father. Oh, you're my father. So everything was, like a reflection, something to learn from. But he kept repeating that, I have fun, life takes care of the details. We were standing, at a street corner. There were a lot of people. We were about to go back across an incredibly busy street towards the ship. And all of a sudden, none of us realized that nobody had pushed the walk button, and this other man came over and just pushed the walk button. I said, isn't that funny? We're all standing here. And he said, you see, I have fun. Life takes care of the details. And so, I'm just really fascinated by that, and I've started saying that. Now, another thing this man talked about when he danced into our circle, and I've got to put this down so I can use a little hand gesture here. He was using something from sign language, and he said, this is the sign for more. This is the sign for more. And so, I applied it. I wrote a page in a journal of more. What is it that raises vibration? More fun, more laughter, more joy, more smiles, more wow moments. And more love, more joy, more smiles, I just kept writing and writing and writing without qualifying what joy needs to look like. I started to write, I was going to write more ease, and I realized, no, if I'm writing more ease, it feels like there's a struggle in that there's not enough ease. So I wanted to, does that make sense? I wanted to keep it entirely in the positive. So more joy, more, and that's where I'm focusing my mind. Like Esther Hicks in Channeling Abraham talked a lot about pleasure. And like she says, for her, taking a shower is pleasure. I wrote pages of pleasure. She's saying when you're confronted by some big problem in your life, you can't find the solution. The solution is not the same vibrational energy as the problem. So you have to raise your vibration in order for a solution to present itself. So how do you do that? More joy, more fun, more smiles, and things that you take pleasure in. So I made a list of, petting a little dog is pleasure. What brings pleasure? Conversations with friends, speaking, whatever the pleasure is. And so I just started, tracking and just making notes about what brings pleasure. Sitting in a chair that I just bought brings me pleasure. Just little things. Another thing that Abraham said that I found really fascinating was never chase anything. Never chase anything. Attract it. So when we're chasing or running after something, whatever it is we want or desire, it's pushing its way back out there. So this woman started talking about, money in my bank account, and how do I get it? And Esther Hicks and Abraham are saying, well, in that vortex, it's already there. You just need the PIN number. And I love that. So it's like, she talks a lot about things being held in escrow, in vibrational escrow. And so the PIN number, what is that PIN number? How do you get there? More joy, more pleasure, more fun. All those kinds of things. She talked also about everything, as we know, is perspective. And she talked about there's a bundle of sticks, and on one side is the positive side of perspective for any situation, and on the other side is the negative. And we got off the boat in this place, Alicante, Spain. And we're walking a little ways, and all of a sudden, the wind is just whipping. There's the Mediterranean, and it is whipping. And in my mind, I go to, a Chinese acupuncture thing I heard years ago, wind cold. And I know I have to get out of it because I'm going to get really sick. It's like, okay, I've got to get out of here, but I'm still exposed to this wind. Sure enough, I get back to the boat, I get a sore throat, I'm really, really sick. And then I'm meeting one of our new friends, and she said, I said, what about that wind? And she said, yeah, I realized the wind was relentless, and I need to be relentless in my pursuit. She did not get sick. She was on the positive end of the stick. I was clearly on the wrong end of the stick. Same experience, both of us drawing the wind or in the wind, and one taking the positive approach and one having to take a lot of echinacea. I met another man named Raja from India, and he was with a young, much younger woman who also channels Abraham named Aparitha. And they got the inner message to come here on the cruise. And I learned a lot from this man, Raja. Oh, I don't have to hold that up. Thank you, Jacqueline.
You can slide that. Yeah.
Oh, that is funny. That's okay, I'll just hold it. So here's that Raja, and using Abraham principles, he was saying that it takes 17 seconds for a thought to take hold. And so he wants to stop negative thoughts, stop the momentum within 17 seconds. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. Like, one of the things that Abraham talks about is that the entity is saying, no blame, no condemnation. Don't condemn anybody, no blame. It's like, oh man, I judge people, I condemn people. I realize that's what judgment is, we're condemning people. And she talked about actually giving to people, like sometimes homeless people. This is very interesting. She said, they don't believe in sympathy or empathy because that's going upstream. Upstream, it's acknowledging that a person's in a despairing place. They believe in compassion, which they hold very differently. And so she says sometimes she'll give money to people. Sometimes she's even giving them $100. She's just following spirit to see where she feels to give it. But she always qualifies it by saying, I hope you take really, really good care of yourself. That's like a downstream, as she would say. That's a thought there's no resistance in. It's helping to elevate somebody. So here I am talking about Raj. This man is talking about stopping negative momentum. You have a negative thought. And he has 4 ways that he does it. And I love, somebody who actually has, practical steps to stop a negative thought. And so one is that he takes a rubber band and snaps it. He said he snaps it incredibly hard. And these are all in neuro-linguistic programming, we would call these pattern interrupts. So that's one of the things that he does. Another thing that he might do is take a nap. Another thing that he might do is call someone he loves but not talk about that circumstance. Let's see, there was a 4th one that he does. He listens to wonderful music that inspires him. I thought these are things that, that I can do, that we all can do, things that will interrupt a negative thought. So I'm getting just really, really aware of when those thoughts pop up. And I think that's what I can share. Thank you.